A warm welcome to Anuradha Vedic Astrology. Today, we are going to talk about the combinations of a doctor. But before that, a big thanks to all of you for liking, sharing, and subscribing to our YouTube and Spotify channels and writing in your comments and suggestions there. Today, we are going to talk about how to assess whether the chart has the potential of a doctor or not. So, first of all, whenever we are looking into any chart, we do need to see which houses, which planets, and which signs talk about a certain issue. Doctors, that's the medical profession. But basically, doctors are supposed to be healers. And which houses pertain to healing? So let's see. The houses that pertain to healing are the 6th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house. Why so? The 6th house is the house of service. And we know that as a healer, the doctor has to provide service to its people, to the patients who come to him or her. And this is a house that requires one to do very service with a lot of dedication and a lot of determination towards the patients. Then we have the 8th house. Why do we visit a doctor? We visit a doctor because we have a part of the body which is not working or functioning well, and we want to rejuvenate it. The 8th house is the house of rejuvenation. The ability to rejuvenate is also seen from the 8th house. So if the doctor has the shifa or the ability to rejuvenate, that would be the 8th house. And so the 8th house of the doctor has to be strong. The 12th house talks about the hospitals in today's times, and in the olden times, it talked about the ashrams, the places one went to rejuvenate themselves. So the doctors, they would be needing to work in big hospitals in today's day and time. That can be seen from the 12th house. And so we need to see the 12th house for rejuvenation of the doctor too. Now, the 4th house is the house that connects us to the masses. And for the doctor to become popular, to be well known, the 4th house also has to be strong. So all these houses are important for the doctors. When we talk about planets, the major planets are Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn. Saturn is important because it makes you work hard. We all know to become a doctor, you have to invest 10 straight years of your life in this profession, and your Saturn has to be good enough to get you working in this direction. Jupiter is supposed to be the Vaidyanraj, or it's supposed to be the physician. And Venus is the planet that is said to have the Sanjeevani Vidya and the power to rejuvenate. So these 3 planets are important. We can add all the planets. We can say that Sun talks about our health and vigor, but we're talking about the doctor per se. So for the doctor, these planets are important. And if you are to be a surgeon, then you have to have an important Mars, because Mars is surgery. Rahu talks about research. So there are many doctors who work on research, who work on finding out the vaccines for many diseases. We've just seen Corona having a lot of companies coming up with vaccines, and they should be having doctors or scientists who have a strong Rahu, who have the ability to do a lot of research. When we talk about genetic disorders, like if you would read in the medical sciences, you would see that for genetic disorders, it's very important to see the family background. Problems like hypertension, which can lead to a lot of problems further on, complications further on if a person contracts some issues, or for that matter, things like diabetes, which may seem just casual as a problem, but they would not allow body parts to heal or do not allow diseases to be eradicated very early on. So these things have to be worked with by a person. Supposing a person works in these areas of life, diseases, working with these diseases, he or she needs to have a very strong Ketu. because Ketu talks about genetic disorders. So for a doctor, these are the planets also which are important. Now, I've always said that nakshatras make a important effect. But before that, the signs definitely are the signs of the natural zodiac. That is the 4th sign, the 6th sign, the 8th sign, and the 12th sign. What is the 4th sign? The sign of Cancer, which talks about your ability to heal others, to empathize with others. The 6th sign of service, Virgo, the 8th house of rejuvenation, that is Scorpio, and the 12th house of healing as well as medical hospitals, and that is the sign of Pisces. So we move on to the nakshatras. The nakshatras have many in number, and so we start with Ashwini. Ashwini Kumars, we all know, are the celestial doctors. So their nakshatras definitely has an importance. Bharani nakshatra is important for gynecologists. People who take up gynecology can or would be having a very strong Bharani nakshatra. Kritika nakshatra is important for surgeons. People going into surgery will also have a very important Kritika. Then we have Adra nakshatra. For general physicians, Adra nakshatra is an important nakshatra. The motherly touch that we all seek in doctors, the concern and care that we seek in doctors, come from the Punarvasu nakshatra. Then we talk about Anuradha nakshatra. All of us, when we go to a doctor, we know that doctors have a lot of patience, but we expect the doctor to empathize with us. Anuradha nakshatra is a nakshatra that has a lot of empathy attached to it. So this nakshatra makes a person a good doctor with a lending ear to people who have problems. Purvashara nakshatra is a nakshatra of rejuvenation, and so it's important. Sadbhisha is a nakshatra that is said to be of the 100 doctors, and as such gives one a lot of clout when it comes to healing. Uttar Bhadra nakshatra is a nakshatra of healing and happiness. So this is a nakshatra that does one good. Well, there are few more nakshatras, because you see we have doctors teaching doctors also. Yes, so in all the institutes that you find doctors learning, they are taught by doctors themselves. Pushya nakshatra is good for those people who take up teaching medicine as a profession also. Then for those people who treat poisonous substances, there are certain people who will be working in those industries also in the medical sciences. Aslesha nakshatra is important. Maga helps one understand genetic disorders and work on them. And Mula is again good for research, whereas Revati makes you good as a guide, just like Pushya nakshatra does. So let us take up a few examples and see how they work in their chart. These are the examples of doctors that I have with me. In this chart, we'll go house-wise. See, Scorpio is the Lagna, which says that a person does have healing abilities. Before I talk more about doctors in the practical chart, a note that I would like to add is, in olden times, healers of all kinds came under this category. Today, when we talk about psychologists or we talk about alternate therapies, they too would come under this science of healing. So here we see that the Scorpio sign, which is the sign of rejuvenation, and is also in the Lagna. You see, in the 6th house, there are 3 planets, Sun, Venus, and Mercury. Mercury is the 8th lord in the 6th house. Sun is the 10th lord in the 6th house. And it is exalted, giving a person a very strong inclination towards service and healing. We would see that Sun is also in Bharani nakshatra, and Mercury is in Ashwini nakshatra. So Mercury in Ashwini, and Sun and Venus in Bharani nakshatra. Venus is also the 12th lord and the 7th lord. The person has a hospital of his own, because Venus, being the 7th lord in the 6th house, shows service to others, and this is how you are doing it on your own. In the 12th house is Saturn and Mars, both retrograde, showing that this is something the person has been wanting to do for quite some time. The fifth house is also aspected by Jupiter from Purvashad Nakshatra. Sorry, Jupiter aspects the sixth house from its own sign of Sagittarius and is placed in the Purvashad Nakshatra. This is the chart of a gynecologist. And here we can see that Jupiter, as I had suggested, would be important, is in the 12th house, and that is the sign of Scorpio. In the 8th house, we find Saturn and Moon, and Saturn and Moon are both in the sign of Cancer. What more, Saturn is present in the Aslesha Nakshatra and Moon is present in Punarvasu Nakshatra. And as a gynecologist, for her, the nakshatra of Bharani, as I have always said, would be important. Her Rahu is present in the 5th house in Bharani Nakshatra. So we see that the houses are important, the signs are important, the planets are important, and the nakshatras are also very, very important. When we talk about the profession of any person, we have to maintain. We have made a lot of videos on different kind of professions. Please do look into those videos also. So till we meet with you again, stay safe.
Please hit the bell icon for fresh updates. Don't forget to like, share and comment on the videos, and please subscribe to our channel.